Hi everyone, today we are talking about comparing negative numbers. As a reminder, you do not need to write down everything we cover in this video, but be sure to jot down important information and at least one example of each type of problem that we cover. Also remember that you can pause the video to jot down important notes, rewind to view information again, and fast forward if you think you already got it. But just be careful, make sure you don't fast forward too much that you miss out on anything important. Let's get started. So in order to compare negative numbers, we need to be familiar with our inequality symbols. The inequality symbols are used to compare the value of two or more numbers. Be sure to pause the video right here and jot down these notes before moving on. So like I said, inequality symbols are used to compare the value of two or more numbers. And you probably remember the greater than or less than symbols, and your teachers have probably talked about the crocodile eating the larger number and all that. So that's what this is, the greater than and less than symbols. People usually get hung up on how to read them, though. We all know that the larger side points to the larger number, but how do you read them? They look like they could be easily confused with each other. So the tip that I like to use is to remember how you read normal words in English. You read from left to right, just like the sentence. Read the symbol from left to right. We don't start backwards. We don't say right to left from symbol the read, right? So just like with the greater than and less than symbols, you're going to start from the left-hand side, okay? So for instance, this symbol right here, we start on the larger side and then we end with the smaller side. So this is the greater than symbol because we start with the bigger side on the left-hand side. This one right here has the pointy end on the left-hand side. It's the smaller side that comes first when you're reading from left to right. So this is the less than symbol. And then we also have greater than or equal to, as well as less than or equal to. So we will get to those later on, but just know that those also exist. And we just slapped an equal to sign on the bottom there. So the greater than symbol is this one right here because we have the bigger side on the left-hand side. So this is 5 is greater than 2. And this is 2 is less than 5. So we're reading from the left to right. Make sure that this is all in your notes before moving on. Now, when we're talking about ordering negative numbers, we have to remember once we've compared the numbers, it kind of gives us a hint as to where they are on the number line. The 0, as always, is the border between the negative integers and the positive integers. The smaller or the less than side is on the left-hand side. So the further left you get, the smaller your numbers are. And the further right you get, the bigger your numbers are. So if you notice, the less than symbol actually matches the arrow on the left-hand side. So that's another hint that you can use on how to remember how to say your inequality symbols. This arrow matches the left-hand side, and the further left you go, the smaller the number gets. So this is the less than symbol, and the greater than symbol matches the arrowhead for the right-hand side. The greater numbers are the more right on the right-hand side. So that's another tip on how you can remember the direction that those are facing. For positive numbers, it's normal when you're ordering numbers. The bigger the digits, the bigger the value. So 4 has a bigger digit compared to 1, and they're both positive. So 4 is the bigger number, the bigger value. If I have $4, I have more money than having $1. Okay, now with ordering decimals, it gets a little trickier too. So Decimals can be written with different place values. For example, 3.4, 3 and 4 tenths, compared to 3.04, 3 and 4 hundredths. They have different place values. So before comparing decimals, you have to make sure that they're written with the same place values. 3.4 only has one place value. 3.04 has two place values. I can't just look at them and compare. These look like they're equal to each other if we just look at the digits. This has a 3 in the ones place, and this is a 4 in the decimals. But they're not actually equal to each other. We want to make them matching so they both have two place values. So all we're going to do is we're going to add zeros to the decimal place, or to the number that has the least amount of decimal places. So 3.4 would become 3.40, so that they now are matching. They both have two numbers, two digits after the decimal point. So now I'm really comparing 3.40 to 3.04. And then it's easier for me to see that 40 is greater than just 4. So then I can say that 3.4, 3 and 4 tenths, is greater than, this is the bigger side on the left-hand side, greater than 3.04. So they got to have the same amount of place values. Make sure you have this in your notes before moving on. All right, and lastly, ordering fractions. Before you compare fractions, you have to make sure that they're written with the same denominators. If they don't have the same denominators, it's kind of like your tape diagram or your pizza have been cut into different amount of slices. And so those slices are different sizes. We have to make sure that they're the same amount of slices so that we can compare them. So with this example, 3/4 compared to 4/5, I need to change them to the same denominator. They have the same denominator, this is the typo right here, of 20. They both can multiply to get to 20. So 4 on the bottom here, the denominator, can multiply by 5. So both top and bottom have to multiply by 5. And then the 5 on the bottom here, the denominator, can multiply by 4. So for this fraction, both top and bottom have to multiply by 4. So 3/4 times 5/5 would end up becoming 15/20. And by multiplying the same number on top and bottom, I'm really just multiplying by 1, because 5/5 is the same as 1. So I didn't change the value. I'm just changing the way it looks. So then I have 4/5 multiplied by 4/4, and I get 16/20. Multiplying by 4 on top and bottom. And then I can compare 15/20 to 16/20. 15/20, 15 slices out of 20 total, is less than 16/20. So then I can say the original 3/4 is less than 4/5. It's so much easier to compare them when you have the same fractions with the same denominators. Without it, you're just kind of guessing, because these were actually very, very close to each other. So you could have approximated or guessed in the wrong direction. So common denominators, very important. Copy that down before we move on to our examples. Okay, let's take a look at our examples. For this problem, they are asking you, okay, let's take a look at this example. For this problem, they're asking you to select the true statements about the number line. Choose all answers that apply. So that means there could be more than one answer. Go ahead and pause the video and see if you can solve it on your own first. All right, so we're going to start with the first statement. The first statement says that point B is less than point A. So here's point B, and here's point A. Is point B less than point A? Well, we know from before that these numbers on the right are greater than, and these numbers on the left are less than. So is point B less than point A? No, point B is on the right, so it's greater than. So this is not correct. Point B would have to be to the left of A to be less than. The next one, point B is greater than -4. Is point B greater than -4? Is it further to the right? Yes, it is. So this one is correct. And answer choice C says none of the above, so that can't be correct because one of them is correct. So it looks like B is correct. Okay, so if you need to draw and write down things, make sure you do that because it's only going to help you get correct answers. Okay, let's take a look at this problem. Which of the following inequalities are correct? Choose all answers that apply. So that means there could be more than one answer. Pause the video and try it on your own first. Okay, for this problem, it might help for you to draw out a number line. Here's 0, here are all my positives here. Okay, so first one, -4.5, is that less, because the smaller side is first when you look left to right, is that less than 0? Well, less is on this side, and greater is on the right-hand side. So if it's -4.5, it would be over here-ish, just approximating. Is -4.5 less than 0? Yes, it is, because it's more to the left. So that one is correct. Let's try the next one. 3.5, let's say it's over here. Is that less than 4.5? Well, 4.5 is a little bit further to the right. So is 3.5 less than 4.5? Yes, it's further to the left. So that one is also correct. As long as it's to the left of it, it's less than. If it's to the right of it, it's greater than. The next one says -4.5, this one right here, is less than -3.5. Okay, this one's a little trickier. So we know that negative numbers are going in the opposite direction. Here, 3.5 was to the left of 4.5. So over here, it's going to be to the right of 4.5. So is -4.5 less than -3.5? Yes, because it's more to the left. So it's going to be less than. So actually, all three of these you should have selected as correct. They're all true statements. One more problem. Oh, this already looks intense. Let's make sure we read this correctly. The Red Robins are facing off against the Aliens in fantasy football. The Red Robins scored 39 points this week. The Aliens scored -25 points this week. Looks like they lost some points. Drag the white cards into the gray rectangle, right here, to write an inequality that correctly compares the scores. So we want to put it in a statement. So go ahead and pause the video and see if you can put it in the correct order so it makes a true statement. Alright, so it looks like we have about two choices. We can either arrange it like this, or we can arrange it like this, because this symbol can't change. It's always going to be stuck at greater than. So it's either -25 is greater than 39, or it's 39 is greater than -25. Well, I have a positive and a negative, so you should have written down that this is the correct answer, because a negative can't be greater than a positive. This is a greater than sign, because going from left to right, I see the bigger side opening up first. So you should have this down. 39 is greater than -25. Positives are always greater than negatives, always. Which of the following descriptions is correct now? Is it that the alien score was higher than the Red Robin score, or is it that the Red Robin score was higher than the alien score? So the Red Robins got the positive, and then the aliens got the negatives. So which one should it be? Who scored higher? This is the greater than sign, so the bigger number should always be on that bigger side. So the 39 was the Red Robins. The Red Robins scored higher than the aliens. Should have gotten B. Okay, that one looked confusing, but it wasn't too bad. Go ahead and pause the video and see if you can try this one on your own. You're going to order the following numbers from least to greatest. Put the lowest number on the left. So you got to start off with the least number first. And there's 4 numbers, so be careful. Pause the video, try it. Okay, if you are somebody who needs a number line, then this is a great problem to use a number line on. These are easy numbers. They're not too big. You can go ahead and set up your number line. These are going in reverse order. So what you can do is just plot those numbers. -2 is over here, -3 is over here, -5 is over here, and -1 is over here. By plotting them, you got it in order already. This is your order right here. -5 goes first, -3, then -2, and lastly -1, because this is going from least to greatest. Starting from the left-hand side is the smallest. So that's a very easy way to get your answer. So you end up with them going in reverse order, 5, 3, 2, and 1. So when you fix that, 5, 3, 2, and 1. Double check that. That should be your answer. If you got that, good job. One last question. Again, this one wants you to order the numbers from least to greatest, putting the lowest number on the left. You still want to double check and make sure it's least to greatest. Sometimes people will switch that up and they want you to go from greatest to least. But in this one, it's least to greatest again. So pause your video and try this one on your own. Okay, I'm going to use my same strategy as before. I got some in the positives now, so I want to make that a little bit bigger. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This goes in opposite direction. -1, -2, -3, -4, and -5. So when I plot them, that'll give me my answer. I have a 5, I have a 2, I have a -2, and a -5. So it should go -5, -2, 2, and then 5. Okay? So your negative numbers are going in reverse order, 5 and then 2. And your positive numbers are going in normal order, 2 and then 5. So negative numbers go in reverse order, 5, 4, 3, 2, and then 1. And then your positives go in normal order, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that should be correct. Okay, that is ordering numbers on the number line when you are comparing numbers on the number line and without the number line, because if they don't provide you with the number line, you can provide your own and sketch it out. Let me know if you have any questions as you work on these problems, and I will see you in class.